Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back for another chapter, another edition, episode, whatever you want to call it at this point. We don't care. Vlog of the book of Revelation. So chapter 18 today, and hard to believe we are actually on the last week of the Bible vlog. So we're starting today Monday and then going through to Friday, but Friday's chapter 22, and that is it. Hard to believe. So picking up a little bit from chapter 17 yesterday, this is kind of the middle section of that sixth section. It's a tongue twister. Middle of the sixth section of the book of Revelation. And that section I'm referring to, of course, is that literary structure that we've been following throughout it. So made up of seven different sections in the book. So this is the middle of that sixth section. And this section is particularly about, and we mentioned this yesterday, about the kingdom of the world really falling apart and then Jesus' victory being totally accomplished here. But specifically, we're kind of picking up where we left off yesterday with Babylon being destroyed. Babylon, of course, being represented by that great prostitute yesterday that we were looking at, which is an unusual thing to read about in the Bible, but again, it's very symbolic of what's happening here. As you can tell, we also have the glasses out again, kind of go over a visual illustration. We felt, especially with yesterday's chapter, that I think that really helped a lot, kind of cement some things together. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. You know Bev, you know she's here. I'm tired of introducing, no, I'm not. It's my wonderful mother-in-law. So she's going to be taking us through this chapter just like the remaining ones for this week. But yeah, Bev, why don't you go ahead and kind of fill in the gaps here. I'm sure, as always, we need to kind of, one chapter builds upon another.
Yes,
so what can we pull from yesterday that's going to kind of help us understand today?
Remember, there were 7 heads, which were the 7 kings.
Yeah, on that beast that the prostitute was riding.
On the scarlet beast.
Okay.
And those represented the kings, the rulers of the world. Remember, 5 were fallen. So, Ben, did you just turn over 5 of those?
All right, so these 5. Okay, so we got 7 up here. So these are 5. So we're going to turn these over. Yeah. So these kingdoms are gone, or kings are gone, I guess.
And the kings represent the whole kingdom.
Okay.
So it's not just like 5 literal kings. Those are gone.
Okay.
We know that right now we're in the king 6.
Yes.
And essentially that is where it means the rulership of the world by this.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean 1 king.
Right.
Symbolically, it means 6. We're in the number of man. And
it's not United States, Russia. It's not a president or a specific person. It's kind of a time period, really.
Yes, it's a rulership. This was up to the cross. This is since the cross.
Okay, got it.
So we're in this time period right now. But now we're going to talk about when this is done.
Okay.
So you want to turn that one over and stick it over with the rest
of it. So the time that we are in right now is done. Put it over here.
There we go. So now we have just 1 left. And that is yet to come. The last thing God is going to do, which is pour out his wrath upon the world and deliver his people. Okay. All nations have come to the point out of 6, and now they're all here. Okay. Everybody's united in rejecting Jesus Christ as King.
Okay.
They've rejected the witness. They are worshiping the kingdom of the world and the false prophet, believing the lie that they'll never die. That was Satan's first lie, was you won't die. God's not going to judge
our world will never end, kind of a thing.
And the world will go on. And people individually, by the way, during all these times up to here, are individually deciding. But this has to do with the nations, all being united as a kingdom. Right now, there's still some that are quite open to the gospel, but this is when they're kind of all closed.
Everybody's pretty much decided
that the nations,
we are against God.
And they're represented by, remember, 10 horns. Horns are power. This represents the 10 horns, which are power. Not 10 different rulers or anything like that. It's 1 rulership over the whole world here.
Okay.
But symbolically, we see it as 10 horns, which means the strength, the fullness of complete strength. All power has gone into the rulership of the world. And it represents also 10 kings, which means it's all done.
Okay.
All together. The full power and authority are now here.
Okay.
Because they've all come united for 1 purpose, against the Lamb. So now the little horn. Let's just talk about him for a second.
Now that one represented Satan, right?
Represented Satan.
Okay.
Jesus has taken away his power and authority.
Yes.
Jesus
by basically
conquered him.
beating him at the
Exactly.
cross. Okay.
So the only power and authority that's left is what's out in the kingdom of this dark world.
Yeah. Now that can sound confusing. I just want to add this here because obviously, I mean, if you look at the world today, there's horrible things that happen every day that we would attribute to the devil and his influence and sin in this world. So even though he was defeated at the cross, I mean, literally, Jesus, it says he made a display of him openly, and I love that.
Yes.
But at the same time, he does still wield influence. But specifically, he was defeated. When you're looking at it basically from Jesus' perspective, he defeated him at the cross, so his power is gone here.
Yes.
But he's making a final appearance here.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why his power and authority is gone is people can have a choice.
Okay.
We can choose to not be under him.
Yes. Okay.
And the kingdoms and nations can say, no, we're not going to do those evil things and kill 1 million people.
Right. No, that's powerful. That's powerful because you didn't have the choice to choose Jesus until he came.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
that makes a lot more sense.
We have to individually decide. But some nations have been a lot more closed.
Right.
Too, even as a nation, more open to the choice of the authority of Jesus more in their nation than the authority of the devil.
Right. Right.
So they have a choice.
Okay.
But at this point, their power and authority, they have decided they want it to be under, instead of King Jesus, under Satan as their king.
Okay.
Okay? So he comes up out of the abyss. His name is a destroyer. And he hates the world. Okay? You know why he hates it? Because he knows he's doomed for eternal punishment, he and his angels. And he wants everybody to die with him. He doesn't care. Kingdoms, whatever.
If he's going down, it's not by himself.
He's going to take them all. He hates them.
Wow.
And so he comes up out of to destroy, but he comes resurrected, so to speak, to be destroyed. Now we see the kings of the whole world.
So God is, in a sense, allowing this to happen for a moment because he's putting an end to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like when Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Gave him plenty of warnings. And some of the Egyptians decided, I'm getting out of there.
Right, right.
And that's what this happens, as they see how bad the world is. And it's very clear that there's light and darkness, black and white. People are going to make decisions. Which kingdom do I want to be in? The kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of this earth?
Yeah.
And when it gets to this point, people are just totally making that final decision. All the living in the world are making a final decision. But the kingdoms themselves are now under this king. They've given all their big authority to him. So he uses this. This all is together.
It's almost kind of like...
This is where we're at. United against God.
Very carefully, this is where we're at. Yes, but that... Okay, so that actually makes sense. Satan is the one, though, really running the show. That's what it is founded upon.
Exactly.
All of this is really built on top of him.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And now they've all gotten where their authority is his authority. They are united and for one purpose.
Okay.
To fight the Lamb. And we remember that Satan then draws them all together for battle, the Battle of Armageddon. We talked about that yesterday.
Right.
You can't physically fight with God.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It ain't going to work. So... basically, the true King of Kings and Lord of Lords, he comes. And guess what happens here?
I'm going to guess we're turning it upside down?
We turn it upside down.
Very
over
carefully?
There.
Okay. All right. So the seventh king or kingdom time period, I guess.
The whole kingdom.
Oh, yep. Let's not forget.
And Satan.
Good.
Crashing down.
Okay.
Gone. So the Babylon, the capital city of the nations of the world, has now crashed. It is totally destroyed.
Yep.
And with it, Satan and his angels, and all the inhabitants of the earth whose names have not been written in the Lamb's Book of Life, it says, right in this chapter. I mean, it was a chapter. It says it in the last chapter. It mentioned that.
17. Okay.
Chapter 17. So, now God's people have been caught up, by the way. When Jesus comes, they go to him, and this doesn't happen to them. This is the end for the world and everything in it, and everyone that's chosen that way, and the beginning of eternally being with God, face to face.
Wow. Wow.
So, That's
Okay.
Babylon fallen right there.
Okay. All right. So we changed the camera. Glasses are gone now.
Yes.
All right. So again, we wanted to do that though as kind of a visual representation to kind of give you an idea on what was happening in these chapters. Sometimes when you read it just by itself, it's a little bit hard to kind of stay with it and track with it and understand exactly what they're saying. I really feel like that kind of puts it better in perspective.
I like that, Ben, because you suggested the glasses when it was so confusing, and it really
I
did help.
I needed them more than anybody.
No, it helped me explain it easier.
Yeah,
And I thank you
sure.
for that. So today we're seeing that Babylon's been destroyed. You notice there's nothing here. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to take a look at that.
Okay.
And it's going to be allegorical because we're going to still see the kings of the earth talking and things like this. In actuality, they aren't because they're gone.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the perspective of the kings, the inhabitants of the earth, and the kingdom of the world, and then the perspective from the saints is what we're going into right now. We're in Revelation 18, verses 1 through 3. We're going to just start right in.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So in verse 1, after these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. And with a mighty voice he shouted, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every evil spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her adulteries. The kings of the earth have committed adulteries with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury.
Who is this mighty angel? It's another angel. It's Jesus Christ himself.
Okay.
You notice he has all authority. He has great authority. Jesus has been given all authority in heaven and earth. Mm-hmm. And the earth, the whole earth is illuminated with his glory, his light. He says they've gotten to the lowest point. All the nations of the earth now have fallen totally. Because Babylon is the capital of the kingdom of the world, the kingdom of darkness compared to the kingdom of light.
Wow.
So it's now time for him to pour out the judgment of his wrath against the nations.
This sounds very similar, quite honestly, to the flood scenario that we read about with Noah and his family, where God is looking over the whole earth. Everything is wicked except for a few righteous people, Noah and his family.
One family, the righteous family. And that's how he looks now. Everybody's made their decision. He has his righteous family. Some of them already gone to be with him, but the ones here, righteous family still living here.
Wow. Interesting.
And everything else is darkness. And so it's time now for him to come. And one last appeal is made. The next verse, it says, Then I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you will not share in her sins, so you won't receive her punishment and be consumed by fire.
Wow.
Essentially, that's the next part of the verses here.
Wow.
The
But
last
still
appeal.
there's an invitation.
Right before his coming, anyone
Wow.
can say, the nations have turned against you, and I see it clearly. I accept Jesus up to the coming of the Lord.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
I wouldn't encourage you to cut it that close, but wow.
That's how God is.
Yeah.
He is so merciful. He wants everybody to be saved.
Wow.
Now we're going to go look in an allegorical way
Okay.
of three groups. The kings of the earth,
Okay.
the inhabitants of the earth, and the kingdom of the earth itself.
Okay.
The beast out of the sea. Notice that all these people have... Babylon has now, the smoke's ascending up in this allegory
Okay.
of a truth. But they're looking at their perspective of what it looks like to them, how they feel about the fall of Babylon.
Okay.
The smoke's going up, and they're going, this is what I think about it.
Okay.
Now, of course, they're destroyed in actuality.
Right.
But this is, you got to understand, this is symbolism. So let's see what their perspectives are.
Okay.
And the first one is the kings of the rulers, those that have been united together, the whole world united together against Jesus. They weep and mourn because they have shared her luxury. All fame and pride is now gone, destroyed. Their pride is, any of their fame is now over. It's gone.
Right.
And so how they respond is in Revelation 18:10.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read that. Standing at a distance for fear of her torment, saying, Woe, woe, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come.
So they're standing afar and they're saying, woe, because 1 hour, that hour of judgment,
Yeah.
and it's all over.
Yeah.
All this fame, all this pride, all this leadership, it really is gone. So the next group are the merchants of the earth, which essentially are the inhabitants of the earth.
Okay.
And they're all upset because they have all these cargoes of all these goods, the buying and selling, which is the economy of the kingdom of the world.
Yeah.
You know, money is the basis of it, buying and
Right.
selling.
Money makes the world go round,
Yeah.
especially in this sense.
Economy. Yes.
Okay.
And they're weeping and mourning because they have all these cargoes and no one's buying because there's no one to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have cargoes of gold and silver and horses and chariots. And there is an interesting, it goes on and on, all kinds of expensive things. But it ends with, they have cargoes and bodies and souls of men. Isn't that interesting? Bodies and souls of men. They have kind of just, that's the underlying thing. They've kind of sold everybody out into this kingdom and this system. So let's read what they say. It's Revelation 18, verses 15 through the first half of 17.
Okay. All right. So picking up in verse 15. The merchants of these things who became rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing and saying, Woe, woe, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing.
So they're weeping and mourning because they don't have any more money.
Right. Their industry is gone.
Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Everything they're built on is now gone. The third group we see here is the kingdom of the world.
Okay.
All those that make their living by the sea,
Okay.
which is the kingdom of the world. Remember that beast out of the sea is the kingdom of the world.
Right. Right.
So everything that supports the kingdom of the world, the kingdom of darkness, they are weeping and mourning because that kingdom of this world has come crashing down. And it's interesting what they say in Revelation 18:19.
Okay. All right. Let's read that. They threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and wailing, and saying, Woe, woe, that great city, in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth, for in 1 hour she is made desolate.
So you see the kingdom of the world, all their riches are gone. And it's all over for them.
Right, right.
Now, on the other hand, let's look at the perspective of the saints about the coming of the Lord.
Okay.
They have been delivered. They're eternally with God. And God's people are rejoicing. And what they say is in verse 20.
Okay.
They say, Rejoice over her, O heaven. Rejoice, saints and apostles and prophets. God has judged her for the way she treated you.
Wow. So that kind of cry that we see coming from underneath the altar in the throne room of God finally is happening now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's
Wow.
so cool, Ben. That connection. That's the connection of the dot there.
Wow.
This is the culmination of all things. All things are now accomplished as God had ordained it to be. The next section of this chapter is very interesting because it's essentially showing how complete the destruction of Babylon is.
Okay.
There are 6 nevers in this section.
Okay.
And I'm
6 nevers as in it kind
never
of repeats
be
this.
again.
Okay. So
This will
is
never be again.
really showing the finality of this. It's
Exactly.
not coming back. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm going to just tell you what those are.
Okay. All right.
The first one is the great city of Babylon is thrown down, never to be found again. In other words, sin, pain, and death will never rise again.
Wow.
The music of all the instruments will never be heard again. There'll be no joy or celebration ever. It's gone. Compared to the New Jerusalem where there's celebration forever.
Okay.
And
okay.
music and joy. It says, the next one is, the third one is, there's no workman of any trade ever found in you again. So no one's earning anything by buying and selling. There's no people to earn and buy and sell. In contrast to heaven, where it's all free. No sweat anymore of the brow to earn your living.
Okay.
Because you're in God's kingdom forever.
Wow.
The sound of a millstone grinding will never be heard in you again. Well, a millstone grinding gets the food going, you know, the bread basket.
Yeah.
So there's no food. It's gone. In contrast, of course, to the saints who are eating from the tree of life forever.
Right. Right.
The fifth one is the light of the lamp will never shine in you again. So it's absolute, utter darkness. Totally, the lights are out.
Wow.
In contrast to the city where there's light forever.
Yeah, yeah.
The voice of the bride and groom will never be heard in you again. That's the very last one.
Wow. And that really kind of, to me, indicates not just a husband and wife. I mean, that's relationships. That's community, everything.
Exactly.
Gone. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
If you don't have a wedding, you don't have kids, you don't have people.
Right, right.
So it's gone. No inhabitants ever in that kind of a kingdom ever again. In contrast to Jesus and his bride, we're going to see next time talking about a great wedding between the church and Jesus Christ himself.
Wow.
In the next chapter.
Wow.
And relationships forever, face to face, like you talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an eternal relationship, joy and peace and harmony and unity. No division anymore. The end of this section where it talks about the nevers, if you could read that for us, it's in verse 23. It makes an interesting statement there.
Okay. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived.
Notice the great men of the earth were the merchants. One of the first things you ask somebody, well, what do you do for a living? It's just kind of our common question.
Yeah.
And we put value on what kind of things they do for a living. That's the kind of the kingdom and the currency of the world, the way we do it. If you make more money, if you have the bigger car, the bigger house, higher paying job, it's interesting that we always ask that question. It just seems
we kind of equate value with that. Yeah.
In God's kingdom, value is not placed on that. It's what you've done with Jesus, totally on him. And it's so neat because everybody's valued in God's kingdom.
Yeah.
And by their sorceries, all the nations were deceived. There it is, summed up right there. It's through the sorcery of Babylon, the way the kingdom operates, that they led them all astray. Finally, let's just look at that last verse, verse 24.
Okay. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were killed on the earth.
Notice it's not just the blood of the saints, which means they rejected their testimony.
Yeah.
But also the blood of everyone slain. Even those that they kept in bondage that would die someday.
Right. Even those that kind of were connected to Babylon itself.
And rejected the gospel because of their influence. I mean, this whole thing goes down.
Wow.
All the blood in Babylon destroyed. This end of the world, I don't believe, is a happy thought for God. Because God so loved the world that he gave his only son that anyone who wanted to believe in him would have eternal life and not perish.
Right, right.
God loves the world.
Yeah, yeah. And you even see that with him still right even up until the very moment.
Yes.
Has an invitation open, like, come out of there, Wow.
Yes, God so loves the world. This, I think, is clearly shown in Jesus' heart about Jerusalem. I'm going to read out of Matthew 23, 37 and 38. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those sent to you. How often I have longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate. You see, the leaders of God's nation had rejected their King Jesus, and instead they'd chosen Caesar.
Those religious leaders at the time,
Yes.
yeah. When Pilate presented Jesus and was like, here's your
At the
king.
cross.
We have no king but Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah. I really think that was a defining moment. Honestly, not just for them at that moment, but I mean, that really, when Jesus went to the cross and he rose again, it's no longer just the way that you're born that qualifies you whether you're a son of God. It's choosing that relationship with Jesus. And when they willfully rejected him, that makes them no different than anybody else on planet Earth, really, at that point. I mean, it's choosing Jesus. It doesn't matter if you're born Jew, Gentile, Greek, anything at this point. It's whether or not you're part of that family of God. Because like we've been saying this whole time, there's really only two families. It's the family of God and the family of the world, or the family of the evil one.
Wow. Wow, you just nailed it on the head right there, Ben.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing we know is in the Bible by accident, and I think seeing that even by the religious leaders at that time, the people who were most respected in their churches or synagogues or what have you, doesn't matter who it is. It's the choice that each individual makes.
Exactly.
Wow.
We've talked about the time period from the cross. We've talked about in Revelation that time period from the cross to the coming of the Lord. And it's symbolized by 42 months, 3.5 years for
Yeah.
the Gentiles.
Yeah, we saw that 3.5 years kind of coming up over and over again,
42
but
months.
it was always calculated differently. I'm not very good at math, but I remember it kept equaling that. So
The 42 months is always referring to the Gentiles, the nations of this world.
okay,
And it says they're going to trample on the holy city for 42 months.
yeah,
That
yeah,
kingdom of the world is trampling down.
right. Which is really in that time period that we're in now, where
Right.
they're trying to constantly push back against the things of God.
Cross to the Babylon has fallen, to the coming of the Lord.
Okay.
The 42 months was also that beast out of the sea, the kingdom of the world, who would blaspheme the very name of God and heaven itself and the people that dwell in heaven.
Right.
42 months, same period.
Okay.
Now for the saints, it's called 1,260 days, remember?
Okay. I'm going to guess that equals 3.5 years
It
as well.
does equal
Okay.
3.5.
All right.
And they are in the desert. It's represented by the woman, which is the church of God.
Right.
Out in the desert, protected by God for 1,260 days.
Yeah.
While the two witnesses go out and give the message of the cross
Yes.
of Jesus Christ for 1,260 days, the same time period. Now it's over. And Jesus, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of that heavenly city, the New Jerusalem, comes to get his people, the coming of the Lord.
Wow.
And tomorrow, we're going to look at the return of the rider on the white horse. That whole picture.
Sounds like an old Western, doesn't it? Part 2, The Rider Returns.
Chapter 19 is tomorrow.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, very, very good. Man, it is really amazing seeing how, again, just one chapter builds on another. And honestly, it's kind of exciting when you walk through it. You understand a little bit better the symbolism, what it means, and then you're seeing kind of this building of, Satan trying to rise up against God, God defeating him, Jesus having the victory, and then ultimately, us being face to face with God. Couldn't be more of a beautiful story. Man, all right. Well, hey, listen, guys, thank you as always for being here today. Bev, thank you, obviously, for walking us through another chapter still. 4 more to go still for this week, guys. So make sure you come back tomorrow on Tuesday for chapter 19. That's going to be actually the end of this sixth section, and then starting in on the 7th section, which I know you don't want to miss. All right, guys, listen, you all have a beautiful day. God bless you guys wherever you're watching this from. We love you. Come back tomorrow for chapter 19. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.